Hello and welcome to Give Me Something. Post the debacle that was the session or two that we had, Joey, at Gather Round. It was a big weekend. Have you pulled up?
Still recovering. Still getting there. Still getting there.
Financially or emotionally?
Both
or
and everything. Work, yeah.
Well, let's get on with it. And back over last week's results now. Your absolute last week was Ross Lyon will shut down Nick Vlaston.
Well, he did, despite St Kilda only having 1 goal 5 at half-time. They got their act together in the third quarter, but Nick Vlaston only had 5 intercepts. So he's only had less than that twice in the last 3 years. So I'm thinking that's a big tick.
Big tick.
Despite them not being able to score, it wasn't Vlaston that was stopping them. So they were able to nullify him, and in the end they got rolling. Got away with a win, but I'm taking that as a tick. What about your absolute?
First bit of positive feedback you've had from the show.
Yes.
Mine was Jack Ginnivan to get... He was never going to get 6 free kicks, but it did create a bit of theatre when he got the first one very early.
Well, he got 2. He probably could have got 2 more, so you weren't too far off.
Not too far off. You're possible Essendon edge to continue and shock Port.
Yeah, I've learnt my lesson.
Move on from that.
I've learnt my lesson. I'm not putting the Bombers in anything for a long time.
Is that right?
I won't say the whole year, but the Bombers...
Don't upset them.
No, well, no.
It's prolific on Twitter.
They know it was there. No, that was a poor choice by me, so disappointing.
I went the Blues to stamp themselves as flag favourites or possible flag favourites. They won, but they didn't win convincingly.
You thought it'd be a bit more convincing.
I did, and jovially said that I'd never liked Fremantle. Gee, did I cop some feedback?
You are impressed with Fremantle, though, a little bit, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yes. Thought they should have won the game. Now, your roughie was Danaher, Hipwood, Cameron to combine for 12 goals. This was very close.
Well, which was as much as they'd kicked for the whole season previously. They kicked 10 goals, 7 between them.
I was counting them. I was watching them.
I was very close. So was I. You went, what about you?
They had them very early, can I say?
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Didn't it, what?
Wow.
Hey, you're roughie. Toby time will dominate Gather Round. 5 goals. He's only done it, you said, a handful of times in his career.
5 times, I think it was.
Like
5 times in 210 games.
It was incredible, but he did dominate. Best player on the ground. Got his 5 goals. So a big tick to you, Kingy.
So we're around the mark. Yeah. Let's see how we go this week. Yeah. Let's get serious on Give Me Something. My absolute this week, the midfield battle between Fremantle and Port, I'm genuinely looking forward to. I think it'll be a cracking contest. The big bodies will clash. The one man that could just separate the whole thing is the ruckman Luke Jackson. So those smalls have just been so good for Port Adelaide that have been in and out and able to slice and dice. Drew Butters, Jason North, Francis Rosie. They got a lot of publicity this week. There's been a lot of sugar thrown that way. Soldo's a workman-like ruckman. I'm not disregarding him at all, but the talent that Jackson has, he could clear the area by himself, grabbing the ball out of the ruck. I think he'll grab the ball out of the ruck a lot in this battle. But Sarong, Fife and Young's back to his best. He showed us a bit of that last year. Brayshaw's probably a bit more outside and Sharp's going really well on the wing. But those guys inside, Sarong for his size is incredibly strong. So I'm really looking for... This is probably the highlight of my weekend, to watch these two midfield units butt heads. But my big statement, my absolute, is that Luke Jackson will be the separating factor. You watch them closely. What do you think?
It's a good call. The question is whether Sean Darcy comes back into the team this week and what that does to the ruck situation, because there is some talk. I'm not sure where it's at as we speak right now, whether he will be selected. But that
would you play him straight back in? Couldn't, surely.
I don't know.
Mr. Oh, there's a little smirk there.
I don't know.
I don't like when you smirk at me. It makes me think I've got that totally wrong.
It's a tough call.
What's your absolute?
My absolute is the big game at Manuka, the Giants and my boys St Kilda, is that the big friendly Giants, those 2 key defenders for the Giants, Jack Buckley and Sam Taylor, they'll terrorise Max King and co down there. They will dominate them. I'm watching these 2 blokes and thinking, how are you going to get the ball past them? They are in some sort of form. They're averaging over 17 intercepts between them. They've been in 30-odd one-on-one contests and lost 5. All 5 of those have been Jack Buckley. Taylor yet to lose a one-on-one contest. They are the best combo in the competition. And what I love about them is they look different for key position players. They're sort of, they've sort of got the preppy look and they're polite and they speak well. They've sort of got the clean-cut hairstyle and they're sort of not the Mick Martin mould.
No, they're not.
The old,
they speak well.
They speak well.
Got Mick covered.
So I just think it's going to be a tough day at the office for this St Kilda forward line. Max King, we keep talking about, he's looming to take a game by the scruff of the neck. He's going to have his hands full. Caminiti, if it's him and down there with Membry, I'm seeing him struggle to kick a score against this Giants
I want to reserve a conversation with you down the track about the King brothers as targets. Let's do that down the track.
Interesting.
That's a good one. I like that because they are easy to cheer for.
Do we need any numbers on that or these 2?
Well, have you got a number for me?
Well, they'll have at least 15 intercepts between them and they'll keep the key forwards to 3 goals or less.
3 or less, I like that. That 3 or less is low.
Actually, that is aggressive.
I'll give you 4. I'll give you 4. All right, my possible this week is that if the Blues get their clearance game back, and it is miles off the pace from where they were last year, minus 27 they are across the first 4 weeks of footy. So they've gone minus 17, minus 3, minus 6, minus 1. Haven't won a clearance battle yet, which is amazing given what they...
were dominant last year.
How they finished the year. We were talking about it every week, weren't we? We were getting sick of not being able to show it. Better say we've got to find something else with this mob. So we think Walsh is back by all reports, but... The thing that really jumped off the page to me when I was having a closer look at Carlton is that Patrick Cripps is the worst first possession to clearance commodity in the game.
Wow.
He converts at 60%. So his hands are on the ball, and only 6 out of 10 times is he then able to get it to a teammate. Worst in the competition.
Wow.
So I'm watching that this week.
Do you think that's opposition now putting someone on his back? Like he's always got to carry a backpack
I
with
want
him?
him to get the anger back.
Yeah, okay.
Get that real violence in tight back, and he doesn't seem to have that at the moment, and that's why I think they've been vulnerable to teams over the last 3 to 4 weeks. They've got out of jail. They're up against Adelaide, who we've called the vanilla midfield, who are going to try some different things. Some different players will go in there. So to me, you're getting a hodgepodge coming at you. Get hold of them. Make a start. If they can do that, I think they can win by 40-plus points.
Yep.
I actually think I said 50-plus in the meeting, so I'll go with 50-plus. Because the rest of their game's in pretty good shape, Carlton.
Yep.
If they can get this territory battle right via the clearances and the captain leads the way, look out.
So long-term, if they get their clearance game right, are they the premiership favourites?
Oh, I think there's not a lot wrong with them.
Yeah.
I mean, the clearances are a one-man fix.
Yep.
Like Walsh can come in and the whole thing can just click.
Yep.
So we wait and see. But if they do get that right, and they've got weeks to get it right, look out.
That's the advantage. We're not really worried about I'm not worried about their clearance game.
No.
They'll get to some level.
I'm worried about Paddy Cripps with 60%.
Yeah.
That worries me a little.
He'll find his,
What do you
he'll
got
find
for
his
me as
mojo.
possible?
My possible is, well, I try to spread the game. So look at the West Coast Richmond game on the Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
A bit like the Jack Ginnivan sideshow, all eyes are going to be on this game for the Harley Reid v Dusty Martin matchup. The young bull v the old bull.
How good was it last week?
And with all the talk around Dusty, it's the only time Richmond play West Coast this year. Maybe it's the only look we get to see at these two going at it. Now, before I give you what the possible is, Tom Barras spoke to the media over in Perth during the week. I'm going to throw to a grab. Just take a listen to what he said.
Oh.
Knowing Harley, he'll try and put one on him. And that's what I like the most about him, is that he's trying to wrestle the ruckman at the piss-ups. He's trying to go after the big boys, and that's just in his nature. And so I reckon if he sees Dusty, he'll probably try and give him one, and he'll happily accept one too in the nature of the game. So I really like that about his character, and I'm going to see it excited this weekend.
So I'm going with we are going to see one of the highlights for the ages, one of the ones that goes in the archives. It's just going to be a matter of, is it Harley Reid giving Dusty don't argue, or is it Dusty just planting one on the young kid, Harley Reid? Because you spoke during the week about the 7 tackle breaks in just his 4th game of footy. Was one off the record, held by this man, the best we've ever seen at the Don't Argue. So I'm look at that. So I'm going to go. We're going to see one of each. We're going to see Harley Reid give one to Dusty, and at some stage in the game, Dusty's going to give one back.
You reckon he'll track him down?
And he'll go chasing him. They'll go chasing each other, and we're going to see some highlights. So that's what I'm thinking is
so
possible.
One each. I like that. That could happen very early too.
It could actually.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You know what? That gives me a reason to watch that game.
That's right.
I'm looking for reasons.
Yep. All right.
Let's go to the roughie. Now, I'm just sort of stealing a little bit of your mojo here. I'm going with Norton, Jamaru Hagan and Darcy to kick a dozen goals between them. They haven't really caught fire as a trio
Against
yet.
the Bombers.
Against the Bombers. Jamara, in 50-odd games of footy, he's almost at 50, might be 50 this week actually, has only 8 times kicked 3+ goals. So I'm waiting for him to have that game where he just goes bang. Norton's in average form at the moment. He's kicked 13 goals in his last 10 games. And Darcy could be anything, and we're not putting any pressure on a young player, but to me, in order, it looks like, in terms of lighting up, it looks like Jamara, then Darcy, and then Norton a distant third. So I'm interested to see if they can get themselves going, because they're a significant point of difference in the competition, those three.
Yeah, they are. You haven't sold it to me.
No.
What you've get so far that they're going to kick 12 between them. Well, you haven't sold it yet.
No, this is my point.
Yeah.
If you're going to continue with these three, they have to have a performance where they go bang. And I think they can get hold of Essendon down back. And Essendon are off a little bit at the moment, so they've got to capitalise, make a statement, bag home a dozen goals.
Okay, I like it. Hey, my roughie I'm going with, this is more gut feel, but I started diving into the numbers today. I think Brisbane are a genuine chance to beat Melbourne on Thursday night.
Wow.
And you say, well, how? Well, when you actually look a bit deeper, Melbourne
How deep?
maybe are just not going as well as we think in regards to their strengths around the footy. Their clearance and their ground ball game at the moment is just not at the elite standard. They've been really efficient going inside 50 and they've been kicking really accurately. And whether that is just slightly just been covering the cracks, I think there's a few sore boys. So Cozzy Pickett is a big loss. Stephen May's still going to be sore. There's some talk that Clayton Oliver is a little bit sore as well. And I just think Brisbane, they need to make a statement in this season. They've now got a bit of confidence up from the easy kill against North Melbourne. Their ground ball and clearance game is going pretty well, led by Lockie Neal. If they can win that battle and get the ball in their forward half and lock it in, this might be a lot closer than people think. So I'm giving Brisbane a sniff, and then that'll put them start to generate the conversation of Brisbane back. Are they back to being a top 4 team and in this season? But if they lose, because it makes it very difficult if they get back.
You'll be back. If that happens, you'll be back, and I'll just give you the trophy for the year. If that happens. Hey, that was Give Me Something. See you next week.